Hello again, Witch Doctor here looking at the markets, and I'm looking at the week over week activity, talking about the major currencies here and the dollar index futures. As you know, you can see here that we're looking at 2 weeks of price action, talking about a 4-hour chart here on all the currencies. So again, dollar, yen, Swiss franc, Canadian dollar across the top here, and you got the Aussie, the pound, and the euro across the bottom. The important thing here is to identify last week's trading levels, and then see how we how the market transitioned this week. You can see the dollar index futures basically came into last week's low at the beginning of the week here. Tried to take out last week's low, but found the buyers towards the towards Wednesday or so, and finished back in last week's trading range. So really did not get the kind of continuation that you would expect here, where you push sideways and then push down. We actually did a rally back up off of this low, so that was pretty much a little bit of a fake out down here in the dollar index futures, not able to continue to push down below last week's low. So as you can see here, closing back up above the 82 even level, right around the 82.63 zone. Did try to make its way back up towards 83, but was not able to make its way back up towards last week's high. You can see here in the euro, basically, inside week type of action, but the mirror image of what you saw there in the dollar. First half of the week tried to break out of last week's high, but failed. And then it was nothing but a sell-off for the back end of the week, pushing back down below 123 even. And of course, you can see this nice channel that developed towards the back end of the week. So it was pretty interesting here, and was not able to make its way all the way back down towards yesterday's low or last week's low. But you can see back under 123. So now the question here is whether or not the bulls are going to be able to support this market. Pound dollar here, of course, inside of last week's trading range, which is interesting. Same thing with the euro and the pound, not able to get outside of last week's trading range with any conviction. So it looks like it was more of a a consolidation week. You can see this range here, putting in last week's low at 155, last week's high at 156, 157 half, and this week just basically a big sideways consolidation, not able to break out of either one of those extremes, basically trading inside that range. Australian dollar here tried to get outside of last week's high, but failed twice, 3 times, etc. You can see the multiple times that it did try to get out, and then ultimately failed and drove prices lower towards the back end of the week, but did come back and retest this 105 level. So that was kind of interesting. Now the question is whether or not we're going to be able to stay above that. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the premium video, but you can see here overall kind of an upward bias that has been persisting, but now it looks kind of as if we've been moving sideways to flat, in these markets. So you just got to be on alert next week as the market develops. You got the Japanese yen here inside last week's trading range as well. A big sideways consolidation, even though you can see these big massive swings here. Well, not really massive. I mean, we're talking about 30 or 40 pips or something like that. But there is this trend line here that I've been watching, and of course this major level of support that goes back to last week's low, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But towards the back end of the week, you can see that we did break below that support, the trend line support towards Friday. So now the question is whether or not the market is going to work its way back down towards the low 78s. Swiss franc here was not able to break down below the previous week's low, similar to the dollar index futures. You can see how the dollar basically broke down and was not able to get any conviction selling. Same thing with the Swissy. So where the where the euro tried to break out of its high, the pound not, but the Aussie did try to break out of its high. You can see that the Swiss franc tried to break out of its low, got faked out, and essentially pushed back towards the middle of last week's trading range. Main thing here is that we did not go all the way back up towards last week's high, but we did retrace a lot of that move. You can see here that it was a big fake out because moved sideways and then all of a sudden went back up. And what you want to see in a continuation is moving sideways and then pushing down. Canadian dollar, though, is moving very nicely right now, able to push down below the 1 even. You got the big parity level, and have a nice downward channel over the course of the week. So there was no complications there in being short all the way up from 1 even. You can see here right about the 101 zone. And if you go back over the past couple weeks, the Canadian dollar has been on a continuous downward move, and it just continues to work its way lower, breaking below key levels and showing us that right now it doesn't want to stay above the big parity level. But we'll have to see how that, how long that lasts. Kind of curious what the markets are going to give us going into the back half of the summer and then into the autumn season, fall season. We'll see how that works. But for now, you can see that the market dollar index has been moving lower, which has been giving a little bit of a boost to the euro pound, the Australian dollar, and essentially pulling back the Swissy and the Canadian. And of course, the Japanese yen is having a mind of its own. So that's all I got for this market wrap, folks. Good luck in your trading. Stay safe out there. Best regards to all, and we'll see you at the next market wrap.